Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do make everything about me.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
My passport is in the pocket of the duffel bag I took to Mexico.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. We also know that price does too. So if you see a lower price somewhere else, we'll match it. Plus, you get free and fast delivery. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Ho, 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 guys. I hope you had a great Christmas. It's Boxing Day here in very warm and muggy Canberra. The day after Christmas, a day that we in the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand and some Commonwealth countries celebrate as part of a kind of hangover day from the celebrations of Christmas. Usually it's when all the big sales are on, families go and do other things with other family members. It's just a relaxing day. It's a public holiday or a bank holiday, which means most people don't work. I work most Boxing Days. This is the first time I haven't worked in years. So it's just good fun, good time to do a record. So I can just have a little bit of my beer. I'm in a new recording. I've set up a new recording section. I've got a new table in a different part of the room, so the sound might be different. My mic is set up slightly different as well. I hope it doesn't come across quite well. I'm pretty happy with it. I've got to get used to it. It's a bit weird when you do the same thing for 18 months and then suddenly you come and do it differently. But I really do hope that Santa came to you. And if you didn't believe in Santa, whoever gives out your presents, come to you. Those that don't celebrate Christmas, happy Hanukkah. I hope that you had a pleasant and respectful and peaceful one. Pardon me. Sorry about that. No, there's no cough button on my setup. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? I think, as it says in the title, I think we're going to talk about. This won't be a very long one, guys, because it's been a really hectic couple of days, and I've got it's sort of quite slightly hungover, ever so slightly tired. Anyway. Today's episode is going to be about Christianity in heavy metal, not any particular band, not particular, subgenres, albums, none of that. Just in general, we've done the devil in heavy metal and rock and roll. So I think it's about time at this time of year, at the celebration of the birth of Christ. Although we know it wasn't really in December. It doesn't matter. It's when the world celebrates it, 25th of December. So this is when we're going to talk about it, I think. Now, if I disclose any views that you might find offensive out there, I do apologise. Please do push through. It's not, if you have true faith, and I think a lot of you do out there, and I have a lot of respect for you that do, you will not be offended or dissuaded or upset by other people's views, because those with true faith don't need to tell and shout about it and understand that people have other views. Otherwise, we are all fundamentalists, and then that's not a good thing now, is it? As it has been shown. I'm not anti-Christian. I'm not. In fact, I love theology and religious context and discussion. I think it's a fantastic side of people's lives that I find fascinating, to be honest with you. So, where to begin? Christianity and rock and roll. Now, we know that the devil has the best tunes. We know that if you go to any heavy metal aisle of any record store, if you can find one that has in a record store these days, and flick through to the heavy metal section, you will see every single one of them. Every single one will have some kind of, not necessarily satanic imagery or subtext, but a darker imagery and subtext. Okay? Now, this isn't a bad thing, as I've discussed this before. This is something that, passion, energy, and dynamism, and just, rock and roll is usually derived from the sort of darker, seedier side of life. That doesn't mean that if you're a devout Christian or a devout Jew or a devout Hindu or Muslim or even the Church of Spaghetti, whatever, the Spaghetti Monster, whatever that thing is, it doesn't mean that you can't get that kind of passion and fervor in your music. It's just not as easy. It's easy to paint a picture of the darker side when you're playing music at 100 decibels and that's going at the speed of a freight train. It really is. Why do you think that Christian psalms and folk music and music of love and peace is played on acoustic guitars? It's because that's the right tempo and energy for that imagery, right? Sorry. I was having a bit of my beer. You know what I mean? So it's difficult. So when bands and singers, they do one of two things. There are a lot of devout Christians, and devout Hebrews and Jews and all sorts out in the heavy metal world that will write really, aggressive and angry and sometimes vile lyrical content. Because not musical content, because heavy music can be Christian. Let's be honest. It's music itself is not evil. It's the content or the lyrical content you put behind it. And so some of those out there are really I mean if you think about a good example is Arroyo from Tom Arroyo from Slayer. All right, he himself is a born again Christian. Again, sometimes born again Christians come about because of lifestyle and the way that they've lived their lives, and I think they get to a point where they think, oh crap, maybe I should have lived a more pious and religious life. All I've done is sung songs about Satan, drank lots of alcohol, sniffed lots of drugs, and screwed lots of women or men, whatever it may be. And they sort of feel that they sort of need to atone for themselves. Now, Tom is a good example of this. He could, once he found God, I looked for God once, couldn't find him. I looked under the sofa, but I did find a pen I was looking for. But, sorry, old joke. One of my favourites, actually. But he found God, and he could then change his lyrical content, stop playing most of Slayer's back catalogue and write different music, but he didn't. Firstly, because he understands is entertainment. Secondly, if there is a one, and holy spirit, he's not going to condemn you for entertaining, as long as you, in your heart, I suppose, have the true word of God. I suppose if that's, again, might not be your thing. Christianity and rock and roll. Do I think it exists? Do I think it should be there? I'm going to really offend people when I say this, but no, I don't think it should. I really don't. You've got your Christian bands like Striper, and I'm sure there's a lot of other Christian bands. I don't know who they are Christian or deeply devoutly Christian. I just find that I don't think it's right. I don't think it's, when I say it's not right, I don't think it's not incorrect, but it's not correct. If you start putting into your music and your art your faith, does it not take the fun out of it? Now, I know you might say that Satanism is a faith. Yes, it is, but very, very, very few people follow that faith. Most of the people wouldn't have a clue that the Satanic Bible was actually a positive book. No, they would just think it's written by evil people for evil people, which is incorrect. But what I'm saying is that as soon as you start adding organized religion, and let's be honest, Satanism is not an organized religion. As soon as you start adding organized religions and their belief systems and their imagery into your music, it is going to direct you in one way and not the other. Whereas if you disenfranchise your belief system from your music, you end up making more creative art, I think, because you're using a part of your brain that is not governed by your moral center. Now, this can sometimes lead us down very stupid paths. This can lead us down areas where bands write stuff that is, let's be brutally frank, vulgar, not entertainment, and just downright honestly offensive for being offensive sake. It's okay to be offensive or to offend if while you're offending someone, you're doing it with with a direction. And I'm not saying you should offend people, but if someone gets offended by a well thought out and understood argument or an interesting concept, then that's up to them, If you just go out and make dyed-in-the-wall racist comments or completely just, anti-Christian comments, and I'm not a huge... I really enjoy the 90s Nordic church-burning music. I do. I have to say I do. Because it's just... when I say enjoy, that's a very broad term. I find it fascinating. I find it alluring, and I find it just an interesting time in history. I mean, one of the problems with having Christianity in heavy metal particularly is that a classic example, someone like a band like, let's say, like Iron Maiden, for instance. Now, they write Number of the Beast, right? They're not Satanists by any means. They write Number of the Beast because they like horror movies. They find the whole church burning, anti rock and roll aspect of some parts of the people in this world amusing. So they sort of, write a song that, the whole satanic panic thing, they find it, just absolutely befuddling. So they write a song that will sell lots of music. Let's be honest, when you write a song like Number of the Beast, it's catchy, it's brilliant, but also you want to sell lots of records because you want to make lots of money. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole idea of most people in the music industry want to make lots of money, don't they? If they say they go in there and they purely just want to be, I'm an artistic man, I make no money at all, I don't care. Bullshit. Of course they want to make money. Of course they want to survive. They want to live. They want to pay for their bills. They want their... When you think of rock and roll as a kid and you're dreaming of being a rock and roll star, you're not thinking I'm going to live in a bungalow or two up, two down, or a little tiny, a townhouse or wherever you are in the world and just, work in a bank and occasionally play in a band. No. You want to have fast cars, fast women, loose women, big houses. That's what you think you're dreaming of, isn't it? So that's what they do. They make music to sell records. And I think this is why Christianity I don't think works in heavy metal because, firstly, again, I'm going to say this without offending Christians. Please don't get offended when I say this, but I'll tell you a story. I'm going to give you a story. I won't name names. I'm just going to tell you a story. Okay, so I know someone who feels that in every single turn with me in conversation, they have to get within a few inches of my face, and with their rather smelly breath, espouse Christian dogma at me. And knowing that I'm not of a Christian faith, they get really, 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 really blinkered and angry at me when I try to sort of discuss other things. And this is why I don't think Christianity works in heavy metal, because of all the genres, metal itself is as we've discussed over the many weeks of listening to this, if you listen to the podcast, it's such a huge and varied genre of music that if you bring Christianity into it, I think it underlines, full stops, and kills some of the conversation that can occur within the lyrical and musical content of the genre or genres. But I think that could also be incorrect in some respects, right? And we might talk about that when I get back on the other side of the ads. Okay, guys? I'm going to go and get myself another coldie, and I'm drinking a dark ale. 2 years old, very nice. My favourite Australian beer. I hope if you can get it in America, I don't know if you, or in Europe, you might not like dark ales, but I love a good stout. It's not a good stout by any means, but it's a certainly delicious one. Anyway, that's my advert for 2 years over. Everyone's listening. If you can send me a case, that'd be nice. Anyway, see you after the ads, and we'll talk about what I was thinking. I could be incorrect on that side of the conversation as well. Bye, guys.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom, like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do make everything about me.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
My passport is in the pocket of the duffel bag I took to Mexico.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. We also know that price does too. So if you see a lower price somewhere else, we'll match it. Plus, you get free and fast delivery. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Welcome back, guys, to part 2. So this is just like a ramble about Christianity in heavy metal. A lot of this is actually just off the top of my head. I read because I've made some notes, and then I sort of like, it might cause some controversy. Look, as I said before, I think that the restraints of Christian dogma can block the flow and originality of heavy metal. I think this is... And okay, I also think this is slightly incorrect, but also correct at the same time, because just because organized religion is tightly tied to contextual situations like the Bible and the Torah and so on, doesn't mean that they can't be more flexible within the understanding of the word of the book of God. But I think most of the time this is the case. But yes, I might hear you shaking your fist at me going, but I'm a devout Christian, Tony, and I can talk about these things. I think that most like-minded, modern thinking people can. What I mean is, I just think the imagery within that you use for the music also doesn't quite work. I know you have the wrath of God, and God can be righteous and angry and powerful, but most of the time you're espousing peace, harmony, and love, and in the musical form that we listen to, this does not really work, I don't think. Now, yes, Striper makes some good music, and I've got friends of mine that love Striper. I'm not just singling them out as a Christian band. There's also a local Melbourne band called Croissant, who I reviewed for Metal Reviews about a year or so ago. I found that, and sorry if you're listening, I found it really difficult to listen to, because even though they didn't mean to, the actual musical form they were playing, and strangely enough, I don't know whether this is the case, but because they were adding this sort of Christianity to it, it really made the contextual viscosity of the music itself quite cloying, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It really, really didn't work. I went in knowing they were a Christian band. Now, did that blinker me? It might have done. I genuinely don't think there's a place in modern rock and roll and heavy metal for organised religion. I just don't. I think that it's a musical form that should be allowed to be free and open. And I don't mean only to sing about the devil. I mean any subject you want that that may. Let's be honest. In the world we live in, with the woke situation that we are, anything can offend anything and anyone, right? But in the time when I was raised, most people that were offended were mainly white, privileged Christians. Okay, and to some extent, I know white Jews the same, but mainly white Christians. So, as I said, I think I think it changes the contextual thickness of the music. I don't know if that's a real thing. If anyone out there can say yes, Tony, I that's exactly how I feel. I'd love to know if it is. I also feel a bit icky, being not a fan of organised religion. I find it icky when when you are sat there to listen to something that is, let's be brutally honest here, right at the root point of why we are listening to this music is to entertain ourselves. When we then add in the added burden of dogma, religious dogma, and teachings, you're not entertaining yourself anymore. It's like learning through song. It's like when the teacher at school went, "Hey, come on guys, we're going to put this record on," and I had a teacher who used to do it. "Let's put this record on and we're going to learn about this way and that way through the music." Now, I don't want to be hypocritical because I learned a lot of stuff through music. Iron Maiden particularly, and I've already discussed this, and I also learned a lot through the songs of Monty Python. But that's about real things that happened, not fictitious things that you want us to think happened. So it's a difficult one. I find it a little bit off-putting. And it's not because I'm a Satanist and I'm a dark person at heart. No, I've had some brilliant conversations with people in the last 6 months, in fact, on life and the way you live it, and the use of alternate lifestyles to live a more balanced lifestyle, and that sometimes also leaches and bleaches out from that heavy metal genres and the stuff I listen to. It's a difficult one. I don't want to offend anyone. I know when I say I'm certainly not anti-Christian. The whole church burning thing in the 90s was, abhorrent and repulsive. Everyone has the right to their own belief system, and and I mean, if you look at the Tom Arroyo from Slayer, but there's a lot of born again Christians in heavy metal. Tom Arroyo, Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden, what's his name from Megadeth, Dave Mustaine. A lot of these people lived really, I think to some extent, I think Rob Halford as well. I mean, you live really fast-paced, debauched and hedonistic lifestyles. There's a point in, I think, when it gets to their life where they go, maybe I should atone for something I've done or did. It doesn't help that, to be fair, you're living in America, and there's no disrespect to you Americans, love you all, but you are Puritan stock, and it is sometimes beneficial financially to be connected with churches, and maybe that might be one side of it. I don't think that's the case with a lot of it. I think generally they've seen the light and they've found God, and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I was looking for God once, and all I found was a pen. It was one of those pens that when you turn upside down, the lady turns, or her clothes fall off, and she becomes naked. I don't know if that's a symbol. Sorry, I'm being a little bit facetious. I had a very good friend many years ago. It was a genuine Satanist. I mean, a genuine one. And he was probably the most lovable, balanced, and friendly human being I've ever known. Crazy as a cut snake, but that wasn't to do with his religion. That was just the fact that he had been badly burnt by the church and was looking for a way out, and a way of fighting back against organised Judeo-Christian religions. Anyway. And I've rambled on here, guys. I mean, it's one of those subjects that, it's very difficult to breach. Breaching the devil with music is easy because he's everywhere, isn't he? He's absolutely everywhere. You cannot stop him. He's the unmovable force, okay? But Christianity and music, as I said, in heavy metal, I just don't know if I think it's something that should be there. But it doesn't mean that those who write the music shouldn't have a Christian faith. No, I think that's perfectly fine. Great art is not all. You're not always true to yourself with great art. Yes, you're just not. Painters paint pictures to make money. Great artists over the centuries have painted pictures they don't want to paint, but makes them and sells their art and keeps them alive and keeps them feeding food on the table. It's the same with musicians. I'm sure out there that are going on about, Gorgoth and the guts of the devil and blood of Satan and all this sort of stuff. I mean, a great example, a really great example is Kiss. A great example is Kiss. They've got 2 SS symbols in their name, but they're all Jews, right? They all write about rock and roll or not, the devil, and they are, if Kiss write a song about the devil, they're not generally believe in him. They generally think it's just going to sell records. That's why. But you won't find Christians doing it. Most Christians will write music about God because they genuinely believe in God, and won't want to write music about the devil because they don't want to evoke or create issues within in their religious beliefs. So I don't think Christianity has a place in rock and roll or in heavy metal in general. And that's, sorry if I don't mean to offend anyone. It just happens to be how I feel. Anyway, I've rambled on. A short episode this week because, as I said, it's been a crazy time over Christmas, and I worked right up to Christmas, and I'm working again from tomorrow, so I had a lot of time off. And recording the 7 episodes was quite draining, even though they're only 10-minute episodes. There's a lot of thought goes into each one. So this one was sort of like a thought that came to me a couple of days, like literally Christmas Day morning, about what should I record this week. And so Christianity in rock and roll, does it have a place? And my summation is, I don't think it does. But those that do and think it does, please keep doing it, keep loving it. I have no problem with that. If you want to play the most, righteous heavy metal, but sing about Jesus, really, it's fine. It really is. It just seems to me a little bit counterintuitive and a little bit uncomfortable for me. Also, as I said, I think it changes the viscosity of the music. But please out there, don't think I'm a heathen man that has no faith. I have my beliefs, and I believe in the spirits and the world of life and energies, and good and bad energies. So they do have their places. I just don't believe in an overriding evil being that sits under the earth and, burns you forever and ever. Amen. If you have been sinful. There's a very, very good comedy sketch that is from the 80s that was done by Rowan Atkinson, where he's the devil, or Toby, and he's ushering in all of these lost souls, and there's a bit where he turns and he says, "I'm sorry, Christians, yes, the Jews were right." It is very funny. Anyway, that aside, I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope this wasn't too esoteric for you. We'll be back with normal broadcasting next week, when we'll do an album review I've got up my sleeve to do, that I'm really looking forward to doing. Anyway, just a quick one this week. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good, safe New Year. So you won't get an episode from me now to the New Year. So be safe. Let your hair down. Say goodbye to this year. There's been some ups and downs in this year, hasn't it? We've lost some families and friends. We've gained family and friends. We've kicked a virus almost into the stratosphere. We've dealt with megalomaniac, army suppression. We've dealt with, monetary issues. We've dealt with climate issues. We've dealt with it all this year. So let your hair down. Listen to some really loud heavy metal. Enjoy your rock and roll New Year's Eve. I know I'm going to. I'm going to play some fucking loud music. I'm going to drink some really good beer, and I'm going to have a good time. So you do the same. Keep safe. Talk to you in the new year. And bye for now.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do make everything about me.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
My passport is in the pocket of the duffel bag I took to Mexico.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. We also know that price does too. So if you see a lower price somewhere else, we'll match it. Plus, you get free and fast delivery. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This is the perfect time to really kind of give a perspective that Eileen and I think that we certainly hope we have, on using Apple products as regular folks.
And to really kind of ask the question, how is it really fitting in your life?
Apple Vision Show is the new show. Join us, won't you?
Subscribe wherever podcasts are found or at Apple Vision Show.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.